Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to coverage of the 2025 Women's World Chess Championship match between the challenger, Tan Zhongyi, and the incumbent champion, Zhu Wenjun. I did not say where they are from. They're both from China. And this is actually a repeat of the 2018 match between the two of them when Zhu Wenjun won, and since then she has been the world champion. Not only has she been the world champion, she has defeated Lei Tingdie most recently, also her countrywoman from China, and she's defeated two of the strongest Russian women, Alexandra Goryachkina and Katerina Lagno. Like, she's a monster. Zhu Wenjun is also the only champion outside of Magnus to win the Triple Crown, meaning she's won this world championship, which is classical world championship, but she's also won a world championship in rapid and in blitz. And she doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, she's a monster. She's a very, very strong player. She's looking to defend her title once again. And in general, the Women's World Championship has always been handled in a very peculiar way. Like when we see Gukesh and Ding play for the World Championship, you have a city, they stay in the city, for the entire duration of the match. Like, we know about it months in advance. The time control is something, whereas in the women's, it's different. The women play in two different cities. So they're going to start in Shanghai, I believe, which is where Zhu Wenjun is from. And then they're going to move to Chongqing, which is where Tan Zhongyi is from. And this is the same exact setup that they had in 2018. But it always happens like this. I don't know why. And then they play in a totally different time control as well. So, and then another difference between like the open or the men's and, the women's is that the candidate cycle is totally different. Like, sometimes this world championship was decided in a knockout tournament. Sometimes it was decided in a match. The process to select a player is totally different. So I don't know why it's been like that. I don't know if the women want it this way. I don't know if it's just tradition, like the International Chess Federation has always done it a certain way. But yeah, not to mention the fact that I'll make a whole separate video about this. Why are men and women even separate? Why do they have separate titles? Not in this case. Both these women are grandmasters, but yeah, somehow like people get really crazy when they talk about women playing chess, but people just get crazy in general. We're not going to really talk about any of that. We're going to focus on the chess. Oh, one more difference. This is a 12-game match instead of a 14-game match between Ding and Gukesh, which we covered a few months earlier. So, first to 6.5 wins, and there will be a tiebreak. Okay? Several key differences. Now, game number one, Zhu Wenjun opens the match with the move e4. She doesn't get white because she's the world champion. I think they just drew for color, and she got the white pieces. Tan Zhongyi plays c5. Okay? And one more small detail is, like, we haven't had an Indian woman competing for the world championship in quite some time. Like, there is Hampi Konaru, there is Vaishali, there is Divya, there is Vantika. Like, there is a whole, group that is still there. Haruka is still there, but it's been China and Russia dominating women's chess. Knight f3, and now the big question. Zhu Wenjun wants to play the open Sicilian, or she wants to play the Rossalimo. We don't know, right? If the knight goes to c6, Black now has to show what Sicilian they're going to play. Are they going to play the Najdorf? Are they going to play the different e6 positions? Are they going to play knight c6? They're going to play something else. She plays e6. Okay, this is a very big piece of information. Zhu Wenjun doesn't do anything special. She plays the move d4, the open Sicilian, and now Black has a second piece of information that they need to give us. Which Sicilian will they play here? This is the con Sicilian, a6, and then Black can play b5, queen c7. Black can also play knight c6. This is the Taimanov Sicilian. After knight c6, you can also make some other moves. You can also play something else. Knight f6 is a very big piece of information. By playing knight f6 and attacking this pawn right away, I think you indicate to your opponent that after the move knight c3, you are in all likelihood going to be playing knight c6 and entering the 4-knight Sicilian. This is one of the best openings for Black right now at the high level. On Chessly, my educational platform, I have a course, and let me tell you something right now. The 4-knight Sicilian with Black is so vicious. If you're an intermediate or an advanced player, you want to add a Sicilian to your toolbox, this is the best thing that I can recommend. Now, for White, there's many lines to put some pressure, but people somehow don't know those lines until master level. But none of that even happens, because here, rather than playing the move that's played over 90% of the time, Zhu Wenjun plays the move bishop to d3. And there is a very key reason this move is played. She's not going to put the knight on c3. So she's taking the game in a totally different direction, right? Trying to catch her opponent off guard. Black is still going to play knight c6 because that was always the idea. And now white shows the point. You actually trade the knight. It's kind of non-standard to play like this because you don't want to just bring out a knight and then immediately trade it off the board. It doesn't really make any sense to do that, right? But it makes sense. Just pay attention. Black can take back both ways. This way opens up the queen and keeps that kind of cluster together. This way is a bit more dynamic, but you get more reinforcement for your center. That is the move that Tan Zhongyi plays. And now, Ju Wenjun plays a move that is not particularly popular. It's not the most common move in this position. Like, to me, if you ask me what is the most natural move here by far, I tell you castle, right? Like, just castle, then you figure out where these pieces are going to go. I would love to play e5. e5 just blunders a pawn because, you know, your opponent doesn't have to address a threat if they can make one equal or exceeding in nature. And this is a very common way to lose a pawn. When you push a pawn in the center of the board like this, and your king is stuck in the center, the enemy queen can actually punish you. But castling to me looks very natural, right? But instead of that, she goes bishop f4. Okay, and I think the point of this move is that you want to develop the bishop before you put the knight there. I think the whole point is you want to put your knight here, and obviously doing that on the last move would have been kind of silly because then your bishop would have just been blocked in. So she plays bishop f4, which according to Stockfish is the best move in the position. Black plays d5, obviously, and now black just wants to make two simple moves, castle. Black has a very strong center. Black's worst piece is the light-squared bishop, which you're going to see will try to go to a6 and trade off for this bishop. You can always tell which of the bishops is worse when the rest of the pawn structure is on the same color. When you have 5 out of 7 pawns on the light squares, it generally means that your light-squared bishop is going to be a little bit weak. Whereas making a trade like this, bishop d6 would also blunder a fork, kind of. But like, this is not what black wants, really. I mean, you have to kind of mind the dark squares here a little bit more. But even bishop d6 is borderline playable. Now, an interesting moment. Tan Zhongyi plays g6, and you can see from the time spent of the players, they're not thinking. Like, Tan Zhongyi knew that that was the best move, that she's still in her preparation, right? She's not playing bishop e7, she's not playing this. It's very clear she was well prepared for this sideline, and so she plays this move. Now she has 6 out of 7 pawns on the light squares. It's kind of like a dragon scale, right? And then like this pawn will probably walk up the board. Overall, black's position is actually very, very nice. This is a very nice setup. And I'm gonna predict, I don't think Ju Wenjun repeats this line again. I think this setup for black completely neutralizes white's position, and now white has some very difficult decisions to make. If white were to castle here, black did not play g6 in order to play bishop g7. You know why black played g6? To begin attacking, because you are punishing white for moving this bishop out here. The bishop has nowhere safe to go. If it goes here, it's going to get chased away, and then if it goes here, it's going to get trapped in the center of the board. I mean, when have you seen something like this? The bishop can't go anywhere. So what's going to happen after g6 is this very aggressive knight jump is going to happen. The bishop is going to be taken, right, like this, and then black is just going to be better. Black is going to go here and have 2 bishops, a very, very powerful position. Rook is going to go to b8. Right? And then black is going to castle and just be better. Black will just be better because black has a very safe king, very powerful bishop, very powerful open lines, and black will be very happy, which is why Ju Wenjun has to actually now play this move, which you can still see from her preparation. She's still not thinking. She still knows that that's the best move. Now, this position has been reached once before, and it was reached in a game between Mark Hyman and Joseph Zeltsan, which is a crazy thing for me to say. You might have no idea who those people are because they're just regular, individuals who don't behave like clowns on a YouTube channel about chess like me. But Mark Hyman recently became a grandmaster at like the age of 29 or 30 or 31. He's a pretty interesting guy, and he's also like a power lifter. Joseph Zeltsan, I just know because he's from New York. He's always played chess here. So this was a game played in America, actually, this year. And in that game, black went bishop e7. And I think white went on to win that game, but not because of the opening. I mean, it was just a complicated game. In this game, we have h6. And you can see for the first time, Tan Zhongyi is spending some time. She goes after the bishop. The bishop goes back here just to prevent it from getting chased down. And now black still plays this move bishop to e7, because if you play bishop to g7, you get pinned. put pressure on the knight, and you lose. So bishop e7, castles, and now the big question. What does black play? Does black castle here? A little bit of a weakness, but maybe it's going to be okay. What do? Well, she plays a5. It's a very normal move. Now, again, a lot of you watching this are beginner and intermediate. You're probably sitting there going, why is nobody castling? Like, I'm taught to castle. Why don't the women have to castle? I don't understand. Well, she does castle in the next move. a5 is trying to trade the bishop for the good bishop. This is a very good bishop. It's holding together the center. There's long-term attacking possibilities, etc. You know, if there's some big trades in the center of the board, this bishop is going to come alive. So you want to play the move a5 because now your rook defends the a6 square, which is why on this very next move, white plays queen e2. Obviously, creating what we call a battery, right? Covering the a6 square, not allowing... See, this is chess. Like, your opponent makes a silent indication they would like to do something. You say, no, thank you. Castles, and now white needs to bring the rooks to the center, and we will have some sort of clash. Rook d1 is played, obviously, right? You replace where the queen was, rook comes in, and you know that the board is going to be opening up in a moment. Now black has a couple of ways to probably equalize here. She plays the cleanest one, which is knight to d7. This is really what chess is all about. Like, at a high level, it's about white trying to put pressure on black, and if black plays correctly, black equalizes, and then, you get a game. Knight d7 is a very nice move. Why? You are trying to trade the bishops, right? Trying to trade some pieces off the board to sort of minimize your opponent's opening advantage of having developed more pieces than you. Pieces get traded, your opponent isn't able to kind of go after you. And then here is a big moment. If white plays this move, bishop to g3, declining the trade, well, then black probably rotates the knight and tries to get the bishop anyway. Right? And then tries to go over here, and tries to go over here, and tries to play to their strengths, which is space on the queen side, whereas white will try to, maybe generate something on this side of the board. Maybe. But Jun decides to take on e7, and you notice that she spent 18 minutes on that move. She did not like this decision. She didn't like it. She probably really wanted to play bishop to g3. Probably she looked at this position and was like, I don't know what I have to play here, because if I play b3, not letting my pawn get taken, right? Zhongyi is going to play a4. Now what, right? Because, like, if I take, this is miserable. My pawns are very weak. So she decides to go after the bishop. She trades the bishop and plays this move c4. But c4, maybe she could have played rook e1. Maybe she could have just, been a little bit patient. But c4 makes a lot of sense. You're trying to get black to take either of your pawns. And taking either pawn would, 7x white's advantage, which is pretty fascinating, right? Because here the advantage is 0.1. And if dc, it's actually okay, because the bishop doesn't activate immediately. c4, black plays knight e5, finishing the reroute, putting pressure on the bishop and the pawn. And yeah, look, according to the computer, black has absolutely no problems anymore. We have pawn takes d5, we have knight takes d3, queen takes, pawn takes, and queen e3. Why did she not take? Because the idea here is not to take back, but to whack the queen on the diagonal, and that's a really big problem. Because now you have to go here, now black goes here, now you gotta go here, and you're under a significant amount of pressure. This is a very unpleasant position where it feels like any move for white is losing. You have to come into c6. It's very unpleasant, and now the computer, gives this line where pawn hangs, anyway. Rather than getting involved in any of that, queen e3 is played. She's trying to take the pawn on h6, and to defend this pawn, Tan Zhongyi offers a queen trade, and this is the position where we find ourselves in. It's 5 pawns each. If you just look at the position, you think that white is better, because you're like, well, doubled pawns, horrible isolated pawn, also isolated pawn. I'm going to get my rook in there, take that pawn, probably go after that pawn as well. Yeah, no, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Rook e1, rook b8, and now we see the problems. In chess, at a very, very high level, there is a kind of like a heuristic, which has been talked about a lot. Very advanced. So I'm going to explain this to you, and if you're like 500, you will not understand it. Don't worry about it, but you can act really, really smart on your next date. There's something in chess called statics versus dynamics. Statics, when you look at a position, you go, what is stable? What do I have that is stable, that is traditionally good? Well, I have a better pawn structure. I have a 2-on-3, right? Like, it's all together. Black has a scattered 3, really weird, doubled, isolated. This is isolated right in the middle of the board, right into my rook. That's weak, right? I'm going to move my knight there, and then I'm going to have very easy targeted play. But to offset that, you know, black has a bishop for a knight. The bishop is a faster piece, snipes the board. And also, black has open lines. When you have damaged pawn structure, sometimes it actually leads to you having more open lines surrounding your position. And so you need to play energetically. You can't just sit around and play defense, right? G4 is a very nice move, trying to use this kind of strange setup to disallow white from putting a knight on F3. And now, you know, if black just played very passively here, if black played like this, all right, rook D8, black will lose. Like, if black somehow tries to get to a position like this, everything is extremely passive, staring at their own pawn, other things will collapse. And even if, like, you know, something like this happens, white will have all the fun. White will play king e2, white will play f3, take, try to get the king in, try to bring the rook over here, poke and poke and poke. Instead of that, Tan Zhongyi just gives up the a-pawn. Free pawn, right? Because she's coming in, and now you got to take it, and now black is so active, right? Hunts down the pawn right away, and ultimately what happens is we reach this position, and this is just a draw. This is just a draw. Both players have pawns on the same side of the board. They both have rooks, and they repeat the position, and the first game is a draw. This first game is a big win for Tan Zhongyi, because what it shows is that her Sicilian is obviously looking really good. Zhu Wenjun went to some sideline of the 4-knight Sicilian, but I mean, it did not work out that great. Now, the reason she probably played the sideline is because it's a long match, right? And if Tan Zhongyi already gave away this information that she's going to play the 4-knight Sicilian, now Zhu Wenjun has a couple of days, because what they do is they play one game every day. She might go back and find something. One of the most critical lines in this whole system is knight db5, trying to immediately jump into the dark squares. And so what black sometimes plays here is bishop to b4, and then there's things like a3, black gives up the bishop, plays d5, white can play a lot of different things here, like bishop d3. And yeah, this position has been explored a lot. And, you know, the argument is always like, black is equalizing. Black is going to go here, castle, and be okay. I think there was some Nepomniachtchi game where he put his king on c3. That was pretty crazy. It was against Nodirbek Abdusattorov, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken, although Nepo had some other games as well. Yeah, white just has the two bishops, but we'll see. We'll see what she's able to come up with. But in the next game, Zhu Wenjun will be with the black pieces, Tan Zhongyi will be with the white pieces. And in case in case you're not showing respect to these players, like the respect and attention that you should, I mean, we very well are looking at one of the most dominant champions in quite some time, you know. And if she wins this match, she'll be the world champion for like almost a decade before her next match. So pretty exciting stuff. And we'll see if she's able to defend the title. But hot take, no matter who wins this title, it will remain in China. And for more wise words, I will see you for the next recap after the next couple of games. And until then, get out of here.